Okay, so last night was the part one of a two-part Democratic debate. Going to take place took place yesterday, June 26th, and then take place the second part, June 27th, which will be tonight on Thursday at 9 o'clock. I'm very excited about tonight. Get to see Joe Biden go up against Bernie Sanders. I think that's kind of like Jennifer Aniston going up against Angelina Jolie. However, I think last night was interesting. I think, personally speaking, that there were a couple of standout moments for me personally. I think some negative, some positive. I think for me, what stood out negatively was Cory Booker speaking in Spanish. I'm going to say why. Because he did it in a part where, with a question that targeted the Latin community, and I know people feel like, oh yeah, he said it at the right at the right time, and he wanted to be relatable. To me, that's not relatable. Just because your girlfriend's Latina, to me, doesn't mean anything. I don't care that you can speak another language, but even with that being said, to me, it just wasn't authentic. I would have felt more inclined to respect the fact that he went into Spanish had he did it with a question that didn't really like need for him to speak in Spanish, which is what Beto O'Rourke did, which is why I actually respect his answer a lot more than Cory Booker, especially because Beto O'Rourke is even fluent in the language. Cory Booker is not, like, let's be honest. But I will say this about Cory Booker, going from a negative to a positive, he was the standout candidate yesterday. He spoke whenever he wanted to, whenever he felt the need to, he was noticed, and I think that's important. It's important for him to be noticed. It's important for any candidate to be noticed. For me, I think last night was a miss for Tulsi Gabbard for the most part. I think when it came to us being in Iran and war, I feel like that's where she stood out the most. But she just wasn't impactful to me. Her stance on tuition for college, on Medicare for all, she just wasn't doing it for me. And I really, really wanted her to stand out. There is a candidate who stood out to me a little bit, and it was when they asked about how the GOP is affecting America, I believe, and 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 a lot of people said climate change and this candidate, I forget his name, and I'm sorry I forget his name, but he said Trump, and he's the only one who got an applause because that's the truth, and nobody wants to talk about that. I felt he was somebody I'm actually going to look into, and I'll get back to you with his information. But he stood out at that moment for me, and that was probably the standout moment of the night for me because he didn't lie. He said Trump, and I know everybody's scared to say Trump is the person who's messing up America at this point. And now going to Elizabeth Warren, I felt like she was the most impactful. Not that she stood out the most, but she was the most impactful in the sense where she had policy, she had substance. She knew how she was going to get things done. And she was a little bit aggressive. I've never seen Elizabeth Warren be that aggressive before. But she was aggressive, and I like that a lot. What I didn't like was when they basically asked about Mitch McConnell and how we will get anything passed with a Democratic president if Mitch McConnell says Speaker of the House. Again, I don't know all of their names. A lot of them aren't really known, to be 110% honest. However, there was one who said we need to get him out of office. We need to get him out of Kentucky. We need to get a Democratic Speaker of the House, and leader of Senate, excuse me. And I felt like that was his standout moment. Again, even though he was standing out, the answer stood out. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know who he is, but it stood out, and that was what was important. Um, and I felt like when they started speaking about Nancy Pelosi, there was one, again, don't know his name. I know he got booed a couple of weeks ago because it was about Medicare for all, and he got booed. He said he respects that whatever Nancy Pelosi is doing. He respects that as Speaker of the House and this, that, and the third. And I think that's a cop-out response. I think Nancy Pelosi is a very weak Speaker of the House. I think she is a disgrace to the Democratic Party at the moment. And I say that because she has the power to at least start impeachment proceedings. And I'm not saying that it's actually even going to go through, because chances are it's not. You need 1/3 of the Senate, 2/3 of the Senate to actually go enforce a impeachment for a sitting president. But it's not even about that. It's about just letting him know he's not above the law, and she's not doing that. She's a weak, weak, weak Speaker of the House, and I think it's pathetic that you have people who who are like this, who really don't want to do their jobs. But going back to the candidates, there was one who said, I'm proud of working with the Republicans. I'm proud of it. I'm the only person who has done basically every legislation that I've ever wanted to pass because I've had help from the Republicans. As a progressive, not a Democrat, as a progressive, that's not what I want to hear. I don't give a shit about the Republican Party. And I say that Amy Gorbachev, I think that's her last name, she is proud of working with Republicans. I don't care about working with Republicans. And I say that also because when have Republicans ever tried to compromise with the Democratic Party? I give you guys a second just to think about it. When? Never. They haven't. If they ever have, it's for self-gain. It's never ever, they genuinely want to help people. But yeah, overall, I think the debate did go well. Again, I think Cory Booker was a standout candidate because he interrupted and he made his presence known. But I think overall, I think Elizabeth Warren won. I feel bad. I really want the Tulsi Gabbard to stand out. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I really, really, really do. They went after her a little bit about her stance on the LGBTQ plus community back in the day, and I think that's what being a progressive is about. It's about knowing, hey, I messed up, but you know what? I've learned from my mistake, and I like the fact that she understood that and she didn't make an excuse for it, and I think that's amazing. And I still love Tulsi Gabbard. I hope in the next primary debate, I really hope she stands out. And I actually would like for them to make, if there is when there is a next presidential primary debate, if we still have all the 20 candidates left, break it down to 4 nights. If you need 5 people at a time, do it that way. I want more out of these candidates. I don't want 60 seconds for them to say something and then 30 seconds for a rebuttal with 10 people up there, and it's not, for me, it's not productive. I don't get a feel for them. As I said, the candidate who said that Trump is who is messing up America, I have to look him up now because he didn't get really any airtime, and I felt like maybe he could. I think he was like a grandfather. He spoke about his grandkids for a second, but it was very interesting. Beto O'Rourke for me, his standout moment was probably when he started speaking in Spanish for me. And I say that, and I know I criticized Cory Booker, but because it sounded authentic, and like how people want to put it, they could sit there and say, oh no, it didn't sound authentic, but when a black person speaks in Spanish, it sounds authentic. I don't care what nationality you are. To me, the fact that Cory Booker spoke in Spanish was insulting. I don't care who says what to me, that's how I feel. I'm a Hispanic, I'm a Latino, that's how I feel. The fact that Beto O'Rourke spoke it at a time when he didn't have to, for me, was a big deal. And what Jose Castro, I think that's his name, the only Hispanic running, I felt like his standout moment was immigration. He was very strong on that front, and I respected that. I don't know much about him. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I really don't. I really focused a lot on Elizabeth Warren, Tulsi Gabbard for this debate, for last night's debate. But for tonight's debate, I focused a lot on Joe Biden, Andrew Yang. I focused a lot on Bernie Sanders. I focused a lot on Kamala Harris. I focused a lot. I think tonight's debate is going to be more interesting than last night's because we have more people who we know. I think it's interesting. The questions were good. Last night's debate. I just needed more from Tulsi. Need more from Tulsi. Like, take somebody out from tonight and put in Tulsi. I want to vote for her. I would love to vote for her. But I can't yet. Her strong. It seems like she's a one issue candidate, and I know she's not, but it seems that way. And I can't vote for somebody who's a one issue candidate. I'm not a one issue voter. The Medicare for All, tuition free college, um, tuition free, the Green New Deal. These are things that I take very seriously. Um, and I think it's, it's, it's something that all of the candidates can take seriously. And with that being said, I'm actually going to make a side comment here and say, after tonight's debate, I think AOC needs to come out with who she's supporting. And I say that because AOC holds a lot of weight with the progressive part of her party. I love AOC. I think AOC should be running for president. I love her. However, she needs to support somebody. I don't want it to be an Elizabeth Warren moment. No shade to Elizabeth Warren, but where she waits the last minute to support somebody. Support somebody now. That would be amazing. I would love to see her support Bernie Sanders. I would love to see her support Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren has a great platform. She really does. Bernie Sanders' platform is just a little bit better, but I want to see Bernie and Joe go at it tonight. I think that's going to be interesting. Seeing as how Joe Biden loved segregation, he loved it, he bragged about it. He basically made statements that the 1%, everything's going to be fine, you guys are going to be all good, nothing's going to happen. So the 1% is going to stay the 1%. I think it's going to be interesting tonight. Last night was interesting as well. Again, I wish I didn't have so many people on stage. I really wish I would have 5 people last night, 5 people tonight, 5 people on. I wish it would have started on Tuesday. It could have been a 4-nighter thing. So 5 people each night. Because there was 20 people running. There was another Miriam. Somebody, I forget her last name, but she's running. She's going to be on tonight's debate as well. She's the author of like 4 books, I believe. And she has a progressive stance too. And so far from what I read about her, I like her too. I forget her last name. I like her too, and I hope she stands out tonight. De Blasio from last night, he was such a large man. I wish he would have had more presence. And I will say this: he tried to use the black card with his son. I think not remembering that there was a black candidate on that stage in Cory Booker, and I think that messed him up bad. But again, last night's debate was okay. I missed the first 10 minutes of it. I don't think I missed anything spectacular. I caught the rest of the 2-hour debate. Again, tonight's going to be interesting seeing Bernie Sanders go up against Joe Biden, a centrist, who's the Hillary Clinton of this primary. Let's keep it a buck. He's the Hillary Clinton. But it's going to be fun tonight. I can't wait to see how Bernie's exchange with Joe Biden affects everything. So let's see how that works. Yeah, let's see. Tonight is going to be interesting. Just watch it. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you speak Spanish. Pete Buttigieg, like, I don't care if you speak 8 languages. I need to know your policy. I need to know your subject. I need to know your domestic and foreign policy. That's very important. If you want my vote. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care. I will say this as well, going back to last night's debate, bringing up the gay community and the trans community by Cory Booker was another really, really, really good thing that he did. Nobody talked about the trans community last night until he did, which made him stand out, which is why I said he was a standout candidate last night. Was he the best performer? To me, no. I think talking the Spanish thing really threw me off. I wish he hadn't done that. Again, just because your girlfriend's Latina don't mean nothing. However, bringing up the gay community, bringing up the trans community, sounding passionate about it. Don't know if he is or not, but I think that was really good for him. But again, last night's debate, I think the winner overall is Elizabeth Warren. I do think there were strong moments for every candidate on that stage. Not every, but most of the candidates had their strong moments, and I think that's what was important. But again, the winner for me was Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker stood out the most, both in negative and positive ways. The only disappointing part to me was Tulsi Gabbard. She wasn't, for somebody who was in a war, I would think she'd be like, bitch, bye. But she's not like that. I am. So, let's see how tonight's debate is going to be. I'll come back tomorrow with my commentary on tonight's debate. And I think I will have, so I'll do tomorrow, I think yesterday's debate, I'm going to do tonight's debate tomorrow. But then, over the weekend, I'm going to, on Monday, over the weekend if I can, I'm going to talk about both debates as a whole. Jot down some notes, watch the debate again, and really get into it and break some things down. This is just a little thing that I'm doing for today because I think it needs to at least be mentioned. But again, June 27th, 9 p.m., the second part of a two-part presidential Democratic primary debate. Who do you think is going to win? I think Bernie could just stand there and win. Like, let's be honest. But he's not. Again, I think Bernie's gonna win. I think Joe Biden, this is gonna make Joe Biden look bad. Joe Biden is not good with this kind of things. He's not good at interviews. He's not good with these things. And tonight's gonna mess up Joe Biden a lot. So let's see.